So today we're going to be taking a look at a scenario where civilization starts over. Now on to episode 33 of the series, and this will be the final pre-recorded video that you guys see from me. So I'm recording this video on August 18th at 5 in the morning. Don't know why, but you guys should be seeing this video on September 28th, and the next video that you see, which should be on October 2nd, will be the first video where this background no longer exists. At this point, I've been in college for a little bit over a month now, and this is the last pre-recorded video that I have to edit and upload for you guys. So just a heads up there, I'm sure that there will be a video kind of introducing the new setting and stuff, but as far as this goes, say goodbye to this background. Anyway, in the last civilization video, we saw a few things happen. We had a civil war over here in America. The French country went on a little bit of a conquest up north, and the world was fully decolonized. So if you guys do enjoy today's video, make sure to leave a like on it and subscribe to the channel if you're new. All the support is greatly appreciated. And let's go ahead and jump straight into the scenario. But we're going to be starting over here in the Balkans today, in the old empire. After finishing their rebuild following World War II, is going to go ahead and set out on another conquest, and they're going to be going after the Orange team. These guys have no allies. They're extremely neutral and have just been kind of sandwiched in between the World War II victors. But now the victors are coming for their throats. The old empire will send its armies right into the Orange team and take their capital with extreme ease. They will then push around the border a little bit, going towards the center of the country, but it appears that they are waiting for something else to happen. And what would you know, the Farmers Union just joined in on the war. Now, is it even really fair to call these guys the Farmers Union anymore? I honestly don't think so, because the Farmers Union got beat in a war, split into two, and now this is kind of like the remnants of it. But the entire Farmers Union, you know, it used to span over here and a little bit more into this area. So I think I'm going to start calling it like the White Country. But anyway, these two countries are able to split the Orange Country, and they will draft a peace treaty together. And that peace treaty will look something like this. The country no longer exists, in the old empire and the White Country expand their borders pretty simply. But we're going to be staying in this area because the White Country isn't as stable as it looks. In fact, on the interior, they are having a lot of issues in controlling this area, which they just received in the war. It's also kind of far from home, and you know, it looks kind of weird on the map. But these areas are so different from each other, and that's because they've been under different rulings. You know, the Farmers Union is a stem of the Yellow Country, which was an OG country that no longer exists anywhere. There's no trace of it on this map. The Gold Country was kind of the remnants of it, and then that thing's gone. And you know, this is a remnant of it, but it's so faded and far from that stem that it really isn't. Although that is where it comes from. But OG country-wise, Purple Team is still here, which is miraculous. I don't know how. They were here in episode 1 and they still are here. Now, of course, different governments, different regimes, you know, a whole lot of replacement and displacement. So it's not really the episode 1 purple team, but it kind of is. And I guess the red team and the blue team are here too. They're just under a union. Oh, and the green team. All right, apparently I don't know what I'm talking about. But to the white team, they are going to make the decision to just peacefully split into two. They don't want to spend the time, the money, and all the issues that come with assimilating countries. Instead, they will just simply allow them to break away. Now, they are losing their war spoils, and some people within the country aren't going to be too happy about that, but they did technically still gain some land. You know, this is the area that they were having issues with. It kind of bleeds over a little bit into this, but it isn't as bad as here. So these guys will be released as their own official country. And our updated map of Europe looks something like this. And our updated map of Europe looks like this now. So really, no big deal for the white team. It's better just to get rid of it than dealing with it, right? You know, we're still kind of in the late stages of rebuilding following World War II. Some countries like Russia and the old empire, African Union, the brown team, they're already done with their rebuilding, but you know, that doesn't mean that every other country is. But now we're going to head over to Central Asia, where we have probably one of the most unique and random events happening. The leader of the blue team is not popular in his area. Of course, none of these countries like each other a lot. It's Central Asia. This place has been historically filled with war and hate, but they do all have something in common, and that is their hate for the blue team and its leader. Now, the leader isn't necessarily popular. They're kind of like a dictator here. The people aren't too fond of him either, but something happens that is going to ruin him. Now, for some context, the army of the blue team is a very divided one. You of course have your army, your navy, air force, blah 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 blah. And I just said navy. These guys don't even border water. What is wrong with me? But you have your army and your air force, and within the army there is a lot of different groups that are all like considered the army, but it's kind of like a bunch of mercenaries. They're not under the complete control of the government. And one of these groups is going to go over to a few of these countries, specifically the green one and the pink one. They're going to blow some stuff up, so we have some terrorist attacks happening. Why do they do this? Well, they aren't happy with the government, they don't like the leader, and they basically just want to do what they can to oust the current government and make this country lose a war. They know that all of these countries have a strong hate for them, so doing this could cause a coalition to form against them. And guess what happens? Coalition forms against them. These mercenaries come out and say that they were ordered to do this by the leader of the blue team, and everyone believes him. The leader will say otherwise, but no one is going to believe him. And a coalition forms against the blue country that includes the pink team, the green team, and the brown team. So these countries will start their invasion into the blue team. Almost immediately, one of the major cities of the dark blue team is captured by the pink, while down south, the green team simply sets out for the capital, which is way over here. There is little to no resistance by the groups within the blue team, and some of them even join them with open arms. A few weeks later, the brown team will mobilize in the south, and this is a very important front because there are multiple major cities in this area. They are able to capture one of them, which looks to be a previous capital of another country, and are threatening towards the third one. Meanwhile, up north, the pink team pulls off a very impressive campaign in which they cut off and capture one of the most major cities of this country. The majorest of the major that isn't the capital. Make it make sense. They will then start to stem towards some other major cities, capturing that one, and then spearheading towards this one and achieving victory. All in all, their strategy is pretty simple. Capture major cities and sever them from the central government. The green team is a little bit more focused on just taking over provinces and regions because there really aren't any major cities where they are invading. Well, the blue team isn't just going to get rolled over. They're going to pay a high dollar amount to another group of mercenaries to come in and stop these guys from their invasion. They will focus on these southern regions because they do have a lot of population here, and they are successful in capturing one of the major cities. However, some issues are ran into as supply issues are preventing this group from going any further and recapturing this one. Up north, they are successful in repelling the green team for a little bit, and even are able to push back the pink team from the city they just captured via spearhead. But the pink team and the green team will open up a new offensive over here where the mercenaries aren't at just yet. Sorry, it's 5 in the morning right now, I'm struggling. And they will continue on in this region, once again starting to head towards the capital until the two armies merge into one big spearhead, which is pointed right at that capital city. Meanwhile, down south though, those supply issues are fixed and the brown team's armies are being pushed all the way back into their own country, with their capital being threatened. So they're going to pull all their troops from the blue team's territory and defend their own, and they are successful in repelling the blue team's attack. Elsewhere, the blue team starts an offensive down south in the Lime area, and they have a lot of success here as the defensive forces struggle in repelling them. Although that doesn't matter too much because up north, the pink team just swept through all of their northern provinces and is sending a surprise army spearheading right towards the capital. This was a fake spearhead that was meant to deter the forces and gather them all on the front lines over here. With this new spearhead coming right toward them, they will pull back this advance, which leads to the Lime team sweeping through this area once more. It also kind of alleviates the brown team, who pushes back once more and captures these two major cities again. And at this point in the war, the leader is forced to surrender, not before being shot though. Yeah, he's just straight up assassinated. So let's go ahead and take a look at this peace treaty. And in this peace treaty here, we can see how exactly the blue team is divided up amongst the 3 coalition members. The pink team will get this set of provinces, then we have the brown team getting this set of they get this set of provinces, and then the green team gets this set of provinces. Yeah, sure. It's always just one pixel, but they get those, and the blue team is left looking something like this. The coalition is a success, and that leader is gone, and a new government is implemented within the blue team that is a lot more favorable for this region. But now we head over here to East Asia, which has been extremely quiet in comparison to the rest of the world. Not a lot has been happening here since the end of World War II, and, well, I mean, nothing really happened here in World War II, but the Japanese Isles have looked a little different. But we're going to head over to Korea. Korea is one of the oldest countries in the world. They are from a group from the Red Team, I believe, the original Red Team that migrated over here. They branched off, formed all their own stuff, and are even under their own religion, which religion map extremely outdated. I might be updating this like in between because I'm not going to record another one of these videos for about a month and a half. So that gives me some time to maybe work on the provinces, the religion, all that fun stuff. But these guys are OG, and they once had a very strong empire. You know, it went over into China, they had all of Japan, they also had over here in Alaska, and that all fell apart for them. But they get a new leader elected who is looking towards the past and wants to kind of follow the tracks of the old empire and restore the glory of the old ways. So what they're going to do is they're going to declare war on the Gray Team. The Gray Team is also one of the oldest countries in the world. They have been here for a very long time, and they really haven't had too many issues with Korea in their lifespan. But today, the Korean army will march past their borders and disregard any of that in hopes of expanding their once glorious empire that was unrivaled over here in the east. The Great Team is in a state of little to no military because they didn't really think they would need one. They were chill with everyone around them. Now, of course, they had reserves, but not really many active duty officers, and this is probably one of the biggest fumbles in history. Having a country this big with little to no defense. I mean, like I said, they have reserves, they still have all that technology, but they are just simply getting beat here. They will try to weaponize their population with guns and stuff to defend, but unfortunately, the population is no match for trained soldiers of Korea who have been preparing for this attack for a few months now. They will invade into Sakhalin from their northern claim in Japan as well as from the capital city, and this place is quick to fall. They will continue their march upwards around the coastal areas, but will eventually stop as it starts getting a little bit cold up here in Siberia. Back down south though, the armies are making very good progress, pushing toward a lot of these major cities and capturing them with ease. And at this point in the war, the objective has changed from capturing land to capturing cities, because the government is still holding out in some of them, so they will spearhead over to this one, capture it with ease, and then move to this one. They will also follow the border of China, which kind of puts China on alert. You know, there's active duty troops on their border, but they will spearhead up to this city and then over to this one. Finally, they'll capture this one and move over to this one, and those are all the major cities of the Dark Cyan team, and they will finally surrender over to Korea. One of the larger countries in the world just fell over to a smaller one, and that really goes to show that size doesn't matter. And in this treaty here, the Koreans will take a lot of land from the Dark Cyan country, a lot of their important land, crippling the country and leaving them to only a few select provinces which have little population within. The remainder of the country is weak and will make the ultimate decision to unite with this country over here, forming a greater Siberian Union. And trust me, both of those countries needed it. First of all, this country right here that was, before the Union, isn't the strongest, and they could definitely use all the land and resources that come with the Dark Cyan team, who had little to no population and definitely needed a host to exist. So they unionized together into this, which at this point is basically just Eastern Russia. So Asia is experiencing a lot of changes in this new time period. That's mostly because it was uninvolved with World War II, which let them kind of, rebuild from that Great Depression and just ignore everything that Europe and the rest of the world was doing and focus on their own regions, and this is the result of that. But moving from East Asia over to Africa now, we have a transaction taking place. This country here, which just received its independence, is going to make a bargain and deal with the old empire. The old empire isn't completely, just straight up World War II Germany like government. They're not fascist. And I think it's fair to say at this point that the world is looking more towards elections and democratically elected leaders as opposed to monarchs. The losers of World War II definitely resorted to that. They now elect their leaders. The monarchy is kind of dead. Same thing with Ireland. All of these guys have democratically elected leaders. Same with these guys. Really, there's only a select few countries with monarchs like the old empire, Russia, Finland, Norway, and that's really about it. Everyone else is elected. Going back to what we were talking about a second ago, these guys are going to make a trade with the old empire, and they really want sea access because they are suffering from not having sea access. So what they're going to do is they're going to go to the old empire and basically just ask them for a small strip of land to connect them with the ocean. And the old empire will grant that to them under the condition that they also get land back elsewhere. And the land that they are looking at achieving is all of this. And honestly, the Peach team doesn't have too much of an issue with it. There's no one really living there, and it could really only just be used for its resources and probable oil. Is there oil here? Probably, right? You tell me, Sudan. But they make that exchange, and both parties are happy at the end of the day. It doesn't really bother the old empire too much because they will more than likely be forcing access through here, so even though it's owned by the Peach team, they're still allowed to move all of their military and economic stuff through here. I'm sure that wouldn't bother these guys because, they at least now own access to the sea. So you guys are probably thinking like, wow, we just got this whole new map in the new world, a lot of fun stuff over here, but we're still talking about the old world and all these old empires and stuff like Korea and this union. Who cares, right? Let's go to the new world and have some fun. Well, I have some fun and planned for you because these two countries right here are going to war. Remember, they stem from the brown team, and the brown team's colony was not very peaceful when it split up. There was not a lot of agreement, and the central government over here really just kind of threw these guys out because they didn't want to deal with them. Previously, these guys broke away in a civil war, but they still do have overlapping claims and beef with this Mexican country here, so it's time to solve that issue with war. They will send their declaration over, and the troops will begin to move and march towards their capital city. And if you're wondering what the claim they have, is basically over here in northern Baja California and on the west coast. Now, the gold team also has their own claims, specifically over here in this area, so they will also begin to march their armies into here, taking over what they claim is theirs. They'll be the first country to capture a major city, and they'll start to move towards the second one, capturing it as well. Over here on the west coast though, the white team has a ton of armies prepared for this, and they start taking over and severing Baja California from the rest of the main country, moving down into the peninsula and capturing yet another major city. They then start to march in from the outskirts, while the gold team continues to focus in on taking over the central land. And they're doing very well. Now this might be a perfect time for the turquoise country to get involved and start invading the white one. The only issue is that peace treaty is still in effect. They sit it for 20 years, and that means they can't go to war with these guys, or these guys for that amount of time. They want to be careful, they want to be able to rebuild and fortify their country before going to war ever again. And that prevents them from jumping these guys, which, you know, I mean, they don't have to honor that peace treaty technically, but the international community would not be such a fan of such an action, and they could even get booted from the Square Alliance, which they joined in the last episode. So they'll refrain and continue to rebuild, and simply just monitor this war from afar. The white team's armies are rolling through this area of the gold team, moving right towards their capital, and the same is said for the gold team over here, moving right towards their capital. They start taking a lot of land in coastal Texas, which is hurting the economy of the white team tremendously, but the white team is just simply too focused on taking out these guys' capital. Eventually they'll move around and then begin to encircle it, and the same happens over here with these guys' capital. Eventually the gold team will be successful and take the capital city of the white country, and then the day later these guys' capital will fall as well. So we just switched capitals. This war is getting pretty gruesome. Both sides do not care. They are continuing to mow on and mow down these soldiers. The gold team is pretty much going for the kill over here, taking out all of Texas's coastal area. Now, of course, they still have California over here, but a lot of their situated population is in this area. Next, we have the white team sending a spearhead down the coastal area of the gold team, basically just targeting any naval ports and blowing them up and taking them out. This is a pretty reckless action though, as the gold team will respond and sever this spearhead away and leave a massive army group down here in the south. The gold team's army simply isn't strong enough to fight back, and these guys are going to be left here for a little bit, although the supply lines are cut and they are left from the coast. Moving back up north though, a pretty impressive counteroffensive is occurring as the white team is able to push the gold team out of their capital city and relink up with the Gulf of Mexico. But once again, the scale has to tip the other direction, and they will also be able to take back their capital over here in the gold team and start to push back a lot of the white team's forces in the west. As for this group over here, they will be forced south by the gold team as they get closer and closer to the border of the red team, until eventually they take this whole southern province hostage from the gold team, and they just simply don't care enough to go after them and take care of them. You know, they got a whole front line up here to worry about. And wait a minute, something just shot up into the sky. The old empire just launched a rocket into space. The first ever satellite has been launched, starting the space era. Now, the only difference is that there is no Cold War in this timeline, and there is no space race. So the old empire and its allies, and a lot of the world, as a matter of fact, are working together to go into space, get those satellites moving. You know, we're gonna get television soon, we're gonna get the internet soon. Well, not soon, but later on. It's allowing us to start getting towards the internet and all the other fun stuff that comes with space and all that technology with satellites. Back to our front line though. These guys are gonna peace out. They're tired of fighting. The war has been ongoing for a few months now. Both sides are exhausted, the armies are getting tired of this, so let's sit down to a peace treaty. And this will be a pretty simple treaty in which land is just swapped, but overall the white team was a little bit more victorious than the gold team, so they will take a little bit more land. They get all of this area, and the gold team gets all of these areas. And at the end of the day, the new borders of this area will look something like this, and I'm honestly debating in my head right now, should I keep it like this, or should I just color it differently? I don't know. You guys let me know in the comments, because the comments at this point will be updated since this is the last pre-recorded civilization video. I still have to record 6 more videos after this one though tomorrow, or I guess today, later on today. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I'm not gonna have fun with that. I had fun with this though, pre-recording all 6 of these episodes, I think. Yes, 6. It was fun, you know, I had a lot of fun. This map is extremely different from what it is when you're seeing episode 27, which was yesterday. For me, that was yesterday. For you, it was a month ago. So yeah, maybe I'll do a comparison in the community tab if I remember. But just let me know what you think about this in the comments, because honestly, I don't know. But something to note here, if you haven't noticed already, this military group is still down here. They are aware that the war is over. However, they don't care. They're now on their own. They're their own group, and they are going to be fighting up against the gold team for a little bit, because the gold team is struggling to take them out. They're using guerrilla warfare tactics, and they're hiding within the population here. It's not pretty. It's very similar to what's kind of happening over here in the Middle East presently. But they got beef with the government, so they're going to be hanging out here. They're not going to form their own nation. It's just a military group hiding in the woods and shooting at any enemies that are trying to take them out. And that is going to do it for today's episode, so I really hope you guys enjoyed it. And if you did, make sure to leave a like on this video and subscribe to the channel if you're new. I am so happy this is the last episode I have to record tonight. This is the third one I've done. It's 5:30 in the morning. I'm not tired though, because my sleep schedule is... Sleep schedule? Really? Not good. It was never good. So I'm more than likely going to be pulling an all-nighter here just because, you know, I have to fix that sleep schedule because college is starting soon for me. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to leave your input in the comments, because I can actually read the input now and put it into the next episode. And yeah, this ends the pre-recorded video saga. It lasted for about a month, and I'll see you guys in the updated room, and you can finally see modern day present me. And of course, thank you to all our super fans. This includes Pablo Sigma Cat, Sermonator, Georgie Badev, Deathstrider X, Arentine, HammerToad45, Connor the Gamer, Poland Country Ball, Nevada Garbage Trucks, and DW Cool Dude. Once again, thank you guys.